Sulma Arzu-Brown, once again, Director of Operations for the New York City Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. We are very, very excited to bring you another edition with Meetings with the Minds. We are very excited to introduce our next guest, Ms. Wendy Garcia, who is the Chief Diversity Officer for the New York City Comptroller's Office, Scott Stringer. Hi, Wendy, how are you?
Hi, Sulma, how are you? I'm sending you virtual hugs.
Oh, likewise, my hermana. Oh my goodness, how's this quarantine doing? I know you're a working woman, a mom at the same time, so.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a great balance between cooking, working, and remote learning, as you can imagine.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. I understand. But, won't take too much of your time. We appreciate you being with us. And I'll get straight to it. Wendy, the MWBE community has always needed strong advocacy. As the chamber, we've sat on panels. You're no stranger to moderating those panels. And we're no strangers to even going to Albany to advocate. But your role as Chief Diversity Officer, you're pretty much a frontliner. And just speaking with you, I know that you had to kind of restudy a lot of things and get yourself up to date to share the resources needed. What are some of the challenges you're seeing out there, and what's the climate?
Yeah, absolutely. I think everyone is very clear that this is a very hard time for business owners, specifically business owners of color and women who are looking at a lot of systemic inequity issues. That COVID, that has always been there before COVID, but the truth is that in all crises, things are exposed further, right? And so what we're seeing now is businesses across the city needing access to rent relief, needing access to cash flow. We're seeing businesses shut down. I just saw a post the other day of one of the largest restaurants in Washington Heights that's shutting down. And we are seeing communities of color also in high risk. Our office actually just did a report analysis looking at the frontline workers. And we found that in that analysis, the majority of frontline workers were women and people of color. 50% were foreign born, 60% were women, 75 women of color. And so listen, these numbers are not a surprise. I don't think, right? They're not a surprise to you, but we know that because we are at a very delicate time in our country's history, those most vulnerable are normally the most impacted.
Talk to us about how COVID has affected the certification process. I mean, understanding this has always been an issue, right? A lot of paperwork, tedious work. Has it been expedited? And what about the release of funds? Is it going to be harder at this point for the community of MWBE to get their fundings? I mean, it's been tough in the past, so just want to know what it's like right now.
Yeah, I think it's more like news. I don't know if it's good or bad. I think so. There's some good news. I would say number one, the city is still doing business. So there's still city contracts that are happening that people can have access to. So if you have an MWBE who is certified, you've had a contract with the city before. New York State is looking for ventilators, personal protective masks, private companies, items like that, that will help serve during this time of COVID. New York City agencies are also looking for active equipment. IT, Zoom, look, we're on Zoom now. And this is how we are. This is the new way of functioning. And as you know, many city agencies have moved their workers off into their homes and are looking to purchase laptops. Sanitation is a big, and cleaning supplies is a big item. So is there still business for business owners who want to provide a service? The answer is yes, there is. Does your certification still apply? The answer is yes. What about the federal funds? Is there availability in terms of federal funds? Well, I think most of you probably heard on the news that if you have already applied for a federal fund, you will be part of the second round of the stimulus package. But there aren't new applications as it pertains to PPP. What does it mean? It means that many people apply. That the second round was more like a re-up to make sure they can fund everyone who has already applied. But the federal government is not the only place where they have federal loans. There are multiple nonprofits that have put together federal loan dollars for business owners. And so I think if folks are interested, at the end, I can show them where they can go to find these opportunities.
And these opportunities, I like to consider, these opportunities, I like to consider silver linings for the small business communities. I got the opportunity to sit on one of your Zoom sessions, speaking of IT, and, I was encouraged by the array of funding that's available out there. Can you talk to us a little bit about those fundings? I know that, for example, Facebook was one of those.
Yep. So Facebook is definitely one of the companies that has special grants and opportunities for small business owners. Then we also see design companies that have particular grant opportunities for business of color. JP Morgan just announced also business relief, so check them out. And then you have big companies like Salesforce who have also small business grants as well. In our Zoom, as you know, we list them all. They're over 25, and the list keeps growing and growing, and that is a good sign. But there are definitely opportunities out there outside of the federal government for to keep up cash flow for business owners.
Yeah, Wendy, we truly appreciate you. I know that, the Office of the New York City Comptroller, with you spearheading the MWBEs, you guys do your due diligence to make sure that we're consistently getting the right resources, and sometimes even like hand-holding us through the whole process. You ease our worries a lot. You give us hope. And, I believe in paying it forward always. So my last question to you is, how can the MWBE community as a collective support you and what you are doing on behalf of us?
Yeah, I think the important item to note is that what we do in government is really at the service of the city of New York. Working for the comptroller, he is very much the kind of leader that he is a comptroller of the people. And a lot of the work that we do in the office is led by his vision in that how do we have quick turnaround? How do we treat people with the utmost respect in that process? And then how do we make sure that we utilize our office's authority to leverage resources? I'll give you a not so fun stat that New York City, it came out that New York City, only 23% of people in New York City were even eligible for those federal dollars. And when you looked at places like Nebraska, they had over just under 20%. So let me repeat that number. Over 75% of the people in New York were not eligible.
Yeah,
and so go ahead. No. I was just gonna say, and that to me is not an accident. Clearly, we were hit with this pandemic. It's not like people saw it coming. And I think we had to reorganize very quickly to figure out how to provide those services. So for businesses that are interested in figuring out how they can become involved, number one, they can call our office and we can talk through some potential relief efforts with them. We have what's called MWBE University. They can participate every Tuesday and Thursday. We go through federal loans, we go through grants, we go through business opportunities, and then we also talk a little bit about legislative landscape. Number two is that they should participate in city council hearings. City Council is now live streaming their hearings, and the Business Council hearing just happened yesterday, I believe, or the day before yesterday. All the days are blurred. And it was on small businesses. I was on that call. It was 7 hours long, and I believe I remember at any given point I saw 300 to 400 people on that participation number. I would say the third way to participate is never limit your voice, and understand that if it's happening to you, it's happening to 10 other business owners in the same way. So in addition to letting your elected officials know, and organizations like the Hispanic Chamber know, it is super, super, super critical that, you know, you write letters to the White House. So I think that is where that our voice matters more than ever right now.
Exactly. Our voice matters more than ever. I got wind of that stat, so we're definitely going to be covering more of that during meetings of the minds. We can't wait to have more guests on to bring our network, our partners in our community, the information that they needed. Wendy, I thank you so much for being a part of this.
Thank you.
We applaud you. We are with you. We understand that it is not easy, but you know, thank you for being a frontliner for the MWB community and much more. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much. And Sulma, you are a trailblazer, and the fact that you even put this together with the meeting of the minds, I mean, this is brilliant as always being innovative. I am very lucky to call you my friend. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Wendy. Adiós, hermana.